Hey guys, are you familiar with the terms decay, attack, treble, cutting power, overtones, separation? Sound and tone explanations can be confusing and counterintuitive at times. I am here today to shed some light on some of the terms that you might encounter down the road to become a guitar legend. Let's start straight away. Attack. Attack is a very common term in guitar playing. Attack simply refers to the initial crispness of the note, or in other words, how long the sound takes to start and reach its peak volume and intensity. A sound with a quick attack, like when you thwack your guitar strings with a plectrum, takes very little time at all to build, so it has a very short attack under natural circumstances. However, effects pedals like envelope shapers allow you to control what happens when the pedal is triggered by a signal coming through. You can shape the sound by increasing the attack length. At its extreme, this means you could strum the strings and hear none of the thwack, just the continuing vibration of the strings. Sustain. Sustain is the length of time the note is audible after the initial attack, and the brief period while the note is at its loudest. In simpler terms, it means how long the peak volume and intensity last. Balance. The characteristic of an instrument in which the upper, mid, and lower tones have very similar loudness. Bass. The notes on the lower strings, the lower frequencies. Bloom, the way a note seems to get louder just after the initial attack. Bright, a pronounced upper harmonic that accentuates the upper register. Chimey, sustains with shimmery high harmonics. Chorus, a very short delay, 20 to 50 milliseconds, blended with the original signal for a dreamy effect. Clarity, the way notes and chords are distinct and well-defined, but not strident. Compression, the way a sound is altered to prevent overly loud or overly soft sounds, keeping the overall volume to a narrower dynamic range. Compression may enhance sustain, or it might limit the level that may cause distortion. Cutting power, the ability to be heard throughout a variety of instruments and tones, usually associated with loudness, a pronounced attack, and upper harmonic content. Decay, the portion of note immediately after the attack, just between attack and sustain. In other words, how long it takes the sound to fade away. Definition, clearly established pitch and attack. Depth, the positive attribute of low notes. A guitar with good depth has strong, not strident, not boomy, not mushy bass notes. Dry or dryness, defined primarily by the fundamental and low-order harmonic content, often used to describe a guitar without complex harmonic content. Duration, a measure of time usually associated with sustain, the amount of time a chord or note lasts. Dynamic range, the audible and musically usable output of an instrument from its quietest to its loudest. Dynamics, an instrument's ability to produce different sounds when played very softly, medium, hard. Also, the range of the guitar's output from soft to loud. Evenness of response, when the notes from an instrument are very close in amplitude and harmonic content. Full usually refers to abundant fundamental and harmonics content. Fundamental, the root note separate from its harmonic content. Harmonics, the naturally occurring peaks in frequency response of an instrument that correspond to intervals above the root note in the form of octaves, higher fourths and fifths, and some odd intervals. Intonation, the ability of an instrument to play in tune through its entire range, which is accomplished via a technique called compensation, where the length of each string has been slightly adjusted so that it plays in tune in all positions. Each string has been compensated to make up for the fact that it will be pulled slightly sharp anytime it's fretted. Mid-range, the range defined by the middle strings of a guitar, or in other words, the part of the sound spectrum that gives punch to tone. What is punch then? Punch is the combination of strong attack and strong mids. Organic, natural sounding, without an obvious imbalance and without electronics. Overtones. This term usually describes the harmonic content of the notes, separate from the fundamental. It is sometimes used to describe unpleasant tones that are part of the total voice. Percussiveness. Often associated with a strong attack. More recently, the tone generated by striking the guitar in the manner of a drum. Hello Marcin. Piano-like. Big sounding with bold harmonics and a super clear fundamental. Also associated with a strong, quick attack and a long sustain. Projection. The ability of an instrument to be heard beyond the immediate area of the player. Resonance. The natural tendencies of materials to vibrate at certain frequencies. It is also the colloquial term to describe the liveliness of an instrument. Response. The combination of the harmonic content and the way the instrument feels to the player. Rich, an instrument with abundant harmonic content. Rings, sustains with clarity. Scooped, compared to a flat response curve, a scooped curve has a broad dip in the mid-range frequencies. Separation, the clarity between notes characterized by the ability to hear each note. Sparkly, lots of separate harmonics of the notes. Shimmery, even more high harmonics than sparkly and extending to higher frequencies. Tap tone, tapping a piece of wood pre-cut for a guitar top or back and listening for the tone. This helps the luthier to control, enhance, adjust or otherwise alter the voice of a guitar. Thick, strong harmonics closely related to the individual notes. Tonal rise and decay time, the scheme by which sound is defined with respect to amplitude. Attack is first, rise time is the few milliseconds immediately after, decay is the very period from the highest amplitude to when the note settles in its sustain period, and release is the rapid decline in amplitude before it becomes inaudible. Treble, the notes on the upper strings, the upper frequencies. Voice, the total package of the tone, volume, resonance, and all other aspects of a guitar sound. Volume, the loudness of an instrument, the amount of air enclosed by the body of the instrument. Warmth, slightly softened mids and upper harmonics, leaving a less sharp attack of the notes. I really hope this guide was useful. You may find a more detailed and comprehensive glossary on my Patreon up here. See you soon for some more guitar content.